faith. This is the way. Truth is, I am Iron Man.
Tells me when you'll cement this.
Hello, critics, non-critics, and friends. Welcome to the Film Optics Podcast, where we take a glance into blockbusters, indie films, and everything in between. I'm your host, Christian, and as always, I'm joined by my partner in film, Devin. And today we're going to be giving our spoiler-free thoughts and insights on Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, Indy 5, the fifth and final Indy, so they say. That's not like foreshadowing. It's just, franchises never really end anymore.
Tom Holland, Indiana Jones, coming soon.
Oh, boy. Honestly, I'd rather have him as Indiana Jones than Nathan Drake as Sony's little whipping boy. But, it is what it is. But before we begin today's episode, you can listen to our podcast on the podcast platforms around the internet. That includes Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more. And if you are a new or seasoned listener to the show, we would love to hear from you guys. Follow us on Instagram and follow us on Twitter at Film Optics, or you can email us at filmoptics. Again, that is optics with an X at gmail.com for any movie-related questions. Devin, I got some good news, I think it's good news. I bought us a domain. So we now officially own filmoptics.com, the domain name. So,
that's a surprise for me too.
I know, right? I was like, I went to we have like a monthly podcast thing here in town, meeting, and we did like this podcast audit thing. And I was like, they were like, oh, who wants to share the podcast? I was like, I'll share our show, and got a lot of positive feedback. We got some other suggestions, I should say, but it was pretty good. And they're like, do you have a website? I was like, through Buzzsprout we do, but we do not have a domain. And they're like, well, your domain is available, so you should hop on that. And I was like, you are absolutely right. You are absolutely right. So yeah, we are the owner of filmoptics.com. Now I just have to figure out how to build a website and we're good to go. But yeah, I just wanted to share that news with all of our listeners out there. And of course, Devin, I wanted to get more of a raw recording reaction from him all together there. But yeah.
Yeah, we can pick up, what is it? Wix? Wix is a web building site, and there's like Squarespace. Got some options.
Yeah, GoDaddy. There's one called Podpage specifically for podcasters. I think we're going to look into that. It seems pretty interesting altogether, without the extra stuff. But yeah, we'll look into it. But as I mentioned, we're going to be covering Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. This is a spoiler-free review. But before we move any further, Devin, how's your week been? What have you been watching? What you been watching? What you been playing? What you been doing this week?
Haven't really been watching much, to be honest. I've been playing Diablo 4. That's taken a hold of the friend group and a lot of people worldwide. I think it's sold like over 666 million or something.
Oh,
crazy like
you said
that.
It.
Or 66 million. I don't know.
Honestly, it would be very fitting for Diablo if it was 666 million. I remember playing through Diablo 3 when it came out on console. I also remember like the initial launch for PC, and it did not go well. I was working at Best Buy at the time, and people were kind of just like it. Yeah, there was like this big like Error 66 thing going on that like nobody could log into, but eventually people did. I played the crap out of it on console, Diablo 3, and I do want to get into Diablo 4. It just depends whether I'm going to buy this for console or PC, because I'm always stuck between those two options. My PC is not necessarily up to snuff yet. Maybe towards the end of the year I can upgrade that bad boy, but it just depends. But I'm glad that you're having fun with Diablo 4. I haven't been watching too much. I've been watching a lot, like going to a lot of screeners. We just saw Indiana Jones. Of course, we've been watching a few other films like Elemental, Transformers, getting that stuff out of the way. But I think this 3-day weekend, I'm definitely going to try to finally tackle the rest of Love and Death, because that's only like 6 or 7 episodes. And then from there, I need to go somewhere else. I want to watch season 2 of Sweet Tooth, but I'm not sure if I should yet.
I keep forgetting about that one too.
Yeah, because I want to, like, I feel like I can watch Barry, because they're only like 30-minute episodes. I want to watch start Succession as well. I just haven't had a chance to watch it. Same thing with Yellow Jackets. You know, there's a lot to watch out there, but there's also so many movies right now, and it's kind of it's a task for sure. But one day at a time. Slow motion is better than no motion. So as we mentioned before, we're going to be diving into our review here in a second. Just wanted to let our new listeners know, if you are new here to the show, welcome. We're going to be giving spoiler-free thoughts, and then we're just going to give our final thoughts and our ratings. This is going to be more of a quicker review in a way. We're not going to go super deep into it because it is a blockbuster. We want people to enjoy this experience on their own. There's a lot of Indiana Jones fans out there, including myself. So, yeah, without further delay, we'll be right back after this introduction to Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Stay where you are. Don't move. Who are these people?
We need to get out of here.
Are they with you?
Not an inch, Miss Shaw. Miss Shaw, stop! Stop! Sorry.
Helena!
Dr. Jones, it's over.
Who are you people? What do you want?
Stop!
Helena Shaw! She's on the roof. Find another way up.
Dr. Jones! Dr. Jones, we're not gonna hurt you.
And we are back with our Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny review. This film was directed by James Mangold, and the writers include John Henry Butterworth. That's a great last name. David Koepp, James Mangold himself also writing for writing credit, and Jez Butterworth. We got 2 Butterworths.
Yeah, double butter. Butter both sides.
Butter both sides, exactly, yeah. Man, haven't heard that term in forever. That's a nice little inside joke there for sure. But this movie stars, of course, the man himself, Harrison Ford, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, and Karen Allen, just to name a few. So we're just going to get straight on in to our thoughts. So Devin, give me your thoughts. You got 5 seconds. Not really, but yeah.
Boy, 5 seconds. It's a lot less time than the movie has. So.
You know what? Eric Voss could probably do it because he talks very fast for new rock stars.
He could do anything when it comes to a movie breakdown.
Yeah.
But I guess I can start with kind of my history with Indiana Jones. I'm not like a super fan or anything. Just kind of, I've watched the first few movies. It has been a while, but I honestly don't think I ever watched Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Nor have I.
The Shia LaBeouf one. I just always heard bad things, so I was like, all right, I'll just skip that one. But going into this one, I know James Mangold has been on quite a hot streak here. He's one of the, I'd say, kind of underrated directors we have going nowadays, because he's not like a big name that you would expect to hear, but he just consistently gets it done. I mean, Walk the Line, Logan, Ford v Ferrari, just very, very solid director. And even when you think about just Logan, it's just kind of a similar idea where you want to keep a legacy character going and you don't want to mess up what they've done before, but you want to create a good story where you can kind of have a send-off for them and have it all work and come together. So it's kind of a similar idea they went with here, and I think that works to some degree. Overall, I did enjoy the movie. I think there's definitely some pacing issues throughout, and the ending, I think for this movie specifically, the ending is going to be like the thing that determines whether you like this movie or not. Like it's the turning point for the entire audience, because it's like it's a wild ending and it comes out of left field. So either you're going to be along for the ride and really enjoy it, or it's going to take you right out of it. And that's kind of what happened to me. Like the ending just kind of off the rails completely. And I was just like, whoa, what are we doing here? So that's kind of how this movie goes. I did really like the prologue. It was a really cool sequence. That's about 20 minutes long. That's where most of the de-age for Harrison Ford is. And it is a bit distracting at times. It's just that bit off. You can just tell something's not quite right. That uncanny valley effect where he's looking to the left or right and it just doesn't look right. But other than that, I think the best part about this movie is how they kept the action scenes like age appropriate for the star of the show, which is obviously Harrison Ford, Indiana Jones. They didn't have him do like any crazy jumps or running or anything out of the ordinary for what is literally an 80-year-old man. Like he is so old at this point. They didn't have him out there looking weird and doing sunset. The old man wouldn't do, and they had him show his age too, which was nice. Like it all seemed realistic enough where throughout the movie, except towards the end, things start to get a little unrealistic. But
yeah, so, and I'll talk about the CGI thing here in a second, because I did tweet out my initial reactions for everyone, kind of just to get an idea of what the movie is. I stated that Indiana Jones itself suffers from a long runtime, but it stays faithful to the classic Indy that we all know and love. Phoebe Waller-Bridge was the highlight of the film, because she definitely was. The action scenes were well played to Harrison Ford's age, 100%. Like you just said, they didn't have him do any flips and kicks. You know, he's not Michael Keaton, you know, running around playing Batman again. But I didn't love the movie, but I didn't hate it either, because I feel like the pacing, like you mentioned, Devin, was a bit touch and go. But ultimately, I had a good time with the movies, because this felt like an Indiana Jones movie. And I told myself I was going to watch all the Indiana Jones leading up. I'm going to stop doing that for a lot of movies, because I want something after. Like, if anything, this makes me want to go back and watch the other Indiana Jones movies. I was able to watch Raiders of the Lost Ark beforehand. And, you know, I kind of forgot that Indiana Jones was like this, kind of like this James Bond-esque person in a way, but, you know, he's like more like James Bond goes on adventures, but this is more, you know, treasure hunting. You know, obviously we've had other mediums come out of this that are heavily influenced by Indiana Jones, whether it be the Uncharted series for PlayStation or Tomb Raider, of course. We don't talk about the Uncharted movie, but, you know, it is what it is.
Indiana Jones light.
I can't even call it that, man.
Kentucky Jones.
Kentucky.
No offense to any Kentucky listeners out there. Although Indiana's, it's towards the bottom when it comes to states. Like, let's just be honest.
I mean, Ohio's kind of there too.
No, it's not near Indiana. Like
Ohio Jones.
There's at least some major cities in Ohio.
That's true. That's very true. New York Jones. I will watch that. New York Jones.
Arkansas Jones.
Arkansas Jones. There we go. I like that. Not Arkansas. Arkansas. Or
it could be Holland Jones. Tom Holland.
I like the way you think. That's really good. But to get back to my initial reactions, I did enjoy the movie. Like, I feel like they don't make movies like this anymore because, like I said, it feels like an Indiana Jones movie. He is like this James Bond-esque character, but he's more of an adventurer. I believe, I think Harrison Ford is around, like, he's between like 75, 80 years old. I'm very surprised that he did this because we've known from, you know, Star Wars: The Force Awakens, clearly, like, he just looks so tired. He's had such an amazing career, but he really gives it his all here. Like, he doesn't seem like, I'm just here for the paycheck type situation. Like Devin mentioned, the first 20 minutes is like this super, like, awesome, like, train chase sequence. And I think when it comes to the CGI, what you were talking about for his face, I think the CGI on his face looked very good, but it did not match his body type, because obviously when you get older, he starts to, his chest is like kind of pumping out like that, but he doesn't have the same physique as he was a younger man.
I think the scenes with the de-aging are as good as they can look, but it's still noticeable. Like there's just nothing you can do, because any adult is just gonna notice right away that there's just something off.
Yeah, I think it, but to its credit, I do think that like the de-aging did look pretty good, like for what they can do. Like it wasn't like Luke Skywalker, obviously the young Luke Skywalker at the end of Mandalorian season 2, where it's like, okay, Mr. Hamill, we need you to sit right here and like just don't move. We're gonna like overline this face, when it's like you probably could have just got someone else to play a younger Luke Skywalker. I feel like if they wanted to do that for Indiana Jones moving forward, they could probably get someone who looks like Indiana Jones. Get Aldrich, I think that's his name, the guy he played young Han Solo, and
just have him do all the Indiana movies.
I would actually,
or all the Harrison movies.
Yeah, all the Harrison movies. I wouldn't mind that if they wanted to move this series forward, but they did say this is, Indiana Jones's final adventure. When it comes to like these iconic characters, they kind of stick with that certain person. So maybe, I don't know. I don't know if they would ever make another one. I don't think they need to be completely honest. It's not that the Kingdom of Crystal Skull, I'm going to watch that. I'm going to watch that this weekend. It's not that Kingdom of Crystal Skull was like so bad that they couldn't make another one. It's just, what more can you do? Like clearly, Harrison Ford's still doing a few things, but it's, I'm surprised he hasn't retired already, to be completely honest with you. But
yeah, if anything, this kind of gives me some hope for the upcoming Captain America movie, where he's going to be playing Red Hulk, even though he doesn't know who Red Hulk is, apparently.
He is a man of very few words when it comes to interviews. And I love it how every single time someone asks him, like, oh, do you think Han shot first in A New Hope? He's like, I don't know.
Not care.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know, and I don't care. Like, whatsoever. I'm like, I want to ask him, like, hey, like, what would Indiana Jones is like, what's his meal looking like after, like, a big adventure? Like, what would Indiana Jones eat? Like, what do you think his foods of choice would be? Because it would be something pretty nice if I was, doing these kick flips and whips and whatnot. But overall, I did enjoy it. I'm hijacking everything, and I do apologize. Devin, is there anything else you wanted to mention about Indiana Jones, the Dial of Destiny?
Yeah, I also wanted to bring up Phoebe Waller-Bridge. I did enjoy her character. For some reason, I thought she had a writing part in this movie, but I guess I mixed that up with something else. Maybe it's like a Tomb Raider movie that she's also writing.
Ooh, I would love to see her as Lara Croft now that you mention it.
I don't know if she's playing it, but I think.
Yeah.
I just remember seeing something about her being involved in it. But yeah, I enjoyed her character. It was kind of a nice dynamic between her and Indy as the quote unquote father figure, the godfather, more more so. But I've liked her ever since Fleabag, and it seems like she hasn't really. Oh yeah, that's what I got confused with. She was a writer on No Time to Die. That's what I was thinking of.
I got you.
And then I don't know if you were just about to bring this up, but I was going to talk about the villains of this one, because for me, I really enjoy those actors, Mads Mikkelsen and Boyd Holbrook. They are both very, very fantastic, like villainous actors, and all the times they play villainous roles, they definitely nail it every time. But for this movie, they didn't really grab my attention. Their motivations never really resonated with me. I don't know how you feel, but just kind of. They did a good job, but something about it just wasn't really memorable for me.
So for the villain, and I also wanted to bring up Teddy as well, but we'll get to him in a second because I wanted to get your thoughts on him. For the villain, Mads Mikkelsen, it's the Nazis again, which is fine. There's a lot of callbacks to Raiders of the Lost Ark. Like if you want to watch this movie, or if there is an Indiana Jones movie you want to watch, just to give yourself a bit of a refresher, you can definitely just watch Raiders of the Lost Ark and be totally fine. But I like the villains. like you said, I thought that they did a phenomenal job. But there was a sequence that happened in the beginning of the movie that did not correlate with when someone appears later on.
Yeah,
I was
that's
like,
something I noticed also. I was like, wait, he got that happened to him, and then his face is the same now.
I was like, this person should either be dead or have a disfigured face.
Yeah.
I was like, that made no sense to me at all. I was very confused by that. But outside of that, I thought that they were a great villain pair between the two. And of course, Antonio Banderas making his appearance again for a short time. But, you know, he's there.
There's a couple cameos here and there from the past movies.
Yeah, and like you said, John Rhys Davies, he makes his appearance as well. But yeah, I thought the villains were good. It's just the pacing was very, like I said, touch and go, where, you know, like obviously it's like a rat race type situation, but there's also a lot of chase scenes in this movie. And then, of course, the third act just goes completely bonkers. Was not expecting that whatsoever, but...
Yeah, definitely unexpected. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like if you try to go in and guess what's going to happen, I don't think you can.
Oh no, I had no clue what this is, because when I first saw this, I was
dare I say Shyamalan-esque ending.
Yeah. Yes. Oh yes, that is a very good analogy. That's a very good point. Didn't even think about that, but it's. I thought they did a good job with that. The villains were cool. Like I said, it's just that one thing. I'm like, they didn't even explain it. They just kept on trucking, and I was like, okay, cool. But I will say,
we gotta mention John Williams doing the score. It's just perfect every time.
I will say, yeah, the score was probably one of my favorite parts next to Phoebe Waller-Bridge, and her dynamic or relationship with Teddy. I don't know the actor's name who plays Teddy.
Ethan with two N's. Isidore.
Ethan Isidore. There he is. I'm looking him on. Oh, this is his first movie ever.
Yeah, I thought he did a pretty good job. I was definitely getting some Black Adam vibes, where it's just kind of a random teenager along for the ride. But was he in?
Wait, no, I was gonna say, was he in Black? I'm like, that was not the same kid. I'm like, I literally just said, oh, this is his first movie. But yeah, no, just a little bit, but a better version of what we got from Black Adam, because wow. But I guess for this movie, you know, we've talked about the runtime. I don't know if it's the runtime or if it's the pacing. I think it's more so the pacing, because this movie clocks in around 2 hours and 25-ish minutes. But it feels a lot longer than that, because I think the second act and the third act really just blend together. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But once we get through the prologue and that really cool action scene, there's definitely a slowdown where we're just kind of going from different locations and meeting characters. I will say every set, all the sets, all the locations that they chose, just all looked amazing. James Mangold killed it with the look of this movie.
Yeah, the production design of this film was awesome. It was funny, you know, the script wasn't the best, I don't think, but for an Indiana Jones movie, it felt like Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I think what it boils down to is they nailed the look, the appearance, the performances, the music, all of it's there to be a good Indiana Jones movie. It's just the writing, they just took a couple swings that may or may not hit depending on the person, I would say.
Yeah. But if you're a big Indiana Jones fan, I think you're definitely gonna enjoy this film altogether. But yeah, let's get into our final thoughts and our ratings here. So Devin, what would you rate Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, and what are your final thoughts on this blockbuster?
Yeah, for me, this is definitely one of the more middle of the road movies for me so far this summer and this year, where definitely didn't hate it, but there's definitely just some choices, and there's just some times where it just feels a little bit long, and that really does affect how you feel about it at the end. And like I said before, the ending, that's going to be the determining factor whether or not you love this movie. And The ending just kind of lost me. So that definitely had a big effect. But as far as the score goes, I'd probably go with like a 70 overall. Like, it gets the job done for an Indiana Jones movie, but they just kind of took some swings, and for me, they were misses.
Yeah. I would agree with you on the score section. I definitely would give it a 70 out of 100 as well. So in that, 70 and 70 median, it's just going to be 70 for the podcast score overall. But I do agree. But I do want to commend the fight choreography, because they really did, they slowed things down for Harrison Ford, and he moved the way he was supposed to and did what he could. And I thought it came together very beautifully. Like, even though they kind of slowed down some of like the action stunts, I thought they did. I think that was definitely one of the highlights. Obviously, the production design, the music, it's always great for Indiana Jones. It really it always puts you in the mood, puts you right in the scene. Phoebe Waller-Bridge does a phenomenal job. And all I'm saying is I would love to see her as Lara Croft, Tomb Raider. Let's make it happen. I'm just saying she could do it. She definitely could. But yeah, overall, I think Disney did a good job for their first and hopefully their last Indiana Jones movie, just because I don't think you can really go anywhere with this. And I kind of just want franchises to just like end. You know what I mean? Because I didn't have a lot of hopes or like a lot of... I didn't have like a lot of thoughts going into this before. Like, I wasn't like super excited. I was like, oh yeah, but like, it's Indiana Jones. Like, he's kind of like the adventurer James Bond. So, but yeah, 70 out of 100.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad they didn't transfer it over to a different actor. Like,
yeah,
hopefully it just stays with Harrison Ford.
Yeah, he can just hang up his hat and just have a good time. You know what I mean? Just overall. But as we mentioned before, Devin and I are both giving this a 70 out of 100, which means that the official podcast score for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny will be a 70 out of 100 altogether. But with all that said, that concludes today's episode. If you like what you heard on today's episode, make sure to subscribe to our podcast on your preferred podcast platform of choice, and make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram to stay at the know. That is Film Optics, Optics with an X. And don't forget to share an episode of our podcast with a fellow movie lover, whether it be your mother, your brother, or your significant other. Spread the love of the Film Optics podcast to every corner of the globe. Now, let's take a sneak peek at what's coming up next on the show. So coming up next, we have our Marvel's Secret Invasion episode 1 and 2 review. That's going to be spoiler free, so you don't have to worry about us diving into any juicy bits there. And we're also going to be covering the Netflix Tudum event, the Tudum event kind of thing. So very excited to see what happens there. It's just going to be more of like a highlight reel. We're not going to dive into everything, but it's something fun. And I was like, you know what? The lineup looks pretty sweet. So I'm very excited to see what happens there. And as far as what you can listen to right now on the podcast, you can listen to our Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse spoiler-free review, as well as our Elemental and our Transformers Rise of the Beasts review as well. And as always, thank you all for listening. If you enjoy the show, please take a moment to leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and stay connected to us by following us on Twitter and Instagram for the latest updates. I'm Christian, and that was Devin signing off. And remember, folks, life is like a movie, so go out there and make it a blockbuster.
Peace.